Hello folks, this is Hidden Numismatist back at you with another video on my channel. Today I want to discuss with you Confederate banknotes from the United States during the Civil War. And what I did was I put all my Confederate notes in a BCW currency album so that I can have all of them together when I want to enjoy my Confederate notes and I don't have to bring out a currency box. So let's get started. I'll be talking about each one and the different allegorical figures and the important men and women that were involved during the Civil War. The first one here is 50 cents in face value. And this is the smallest denomination. There is no 25 cents or 10 cents. And this portrays Confederate President Jefferson Davis. It's also to note that it's interesting to note that Archer and Halpin were a lithographic firm in Richmond, Virginia, and they are known to have produced the majority of notes during the war, like this one was. Next one that I have is a $1, 1862. This is representing a ship, a sidewheeler on rough seas. And this is just Liberty standing by a shield. And this is Lucy Pickens. Lucy Pickens is a very, very important lady in the Civil War. She was the wife of the South Carolina governor at the time, Lucy Pickens. And this is type 45. This one here is type 71, 1864. This is Clement C. Clay. He was governor of Alabama and a Confederate senator from Alabama. The real ones of this, make sure when you get this that it's blank, because many of them that are not blank, all of them that are not blank like this, those are counterfeit. So this is a real one. This is type 71, 1864. And then, let's move on. This is getting more and more cool. This is Judah P. Benjamin, this gentleman here. He was a noted Jewish lawyer and statesman. And he was Secretary of War and then the state for the Confederacy. This right here is really cool. This is representing the South striking down the Union. So the South and the Union are going at it. This is type 42 from 1862. Now, what's important about this note, numismatically, is that this was the first $2 note issued by the Confederacy. They all have the date corrected to June 2nd, 1862, after the short run from the T-38s, the Type 38s, and they were dated 1861. This design represented the North as an eagle because the South believed it was the aggressor. It was also known to come on lower quality paper. Many of these notes are found a bit aged, or spotty, or stained, and most were heavily circulated. So finding this note in XF, AU, UNC is very, very difficult, and you will pay a pretty penny. But thankfully, I found one that was in pretty darn good shape, in my opinion. Let's move on. This one here, folks, is, again, Judah P. Benjamin. Again, the Jewish lawyer and statesman. This is type 70 from 1864. Now we're moving on to the $5. This is type 36 from 1861. This is representing Cerise, allegorical figure. She's sitting on a cotton bale with a merchant ship and a train in the background. And this is a Confederate sailor, leaning on a capstan. And from 1861. I like to put the type numbers and the year to keep them in order. These two are very similar to each other. This is the type 53 and this is the type 69. Let me describe this to you. This is the Virginia state capital on both of these beautiful notes. And then this is C.G. Memminger on both of them. He was Confederate Secretary of the Treasury. So both notes are basically the same design, but the type numbers are different and the reverses are different. And me loving Confederate notes, that's why I had to have both. This came first. This is 1862. This is 64. But I like that reverse a little bit more than this blue web, as they call it. Okay, one moment, folks. Okay, moving right along here. This is one of my favorite $10 Confederates. I really like this one. I like the X's, the overprints. That's tight. This is type 26 from 1861. This is representing Esperance, and she's being supported by a naval anchor. And this is RMT Hunter. He was Secretary of State for the Confederacy. And this is again C.G. Memminger. C.G. Memminger, I hope I'm pronouncing the gentleman's name correctly. Again, Secretary for the Treasury during the Confederacy. And then this is one that I recently got not too long ago. This is representing Ceres reclining on bales of hay with ships in the distance. I apologize. Back up. This is Ceres, goddess of agriculture. She's holding an urn and she's sitting across from commerce. So scratch what I just said, folks. I'm getting my notes confused. That's what that is. This is type 28 from 1861. This is another important one. This is RMT Hunter. And the Secretary of the State of the Confederacy, along with Minerva on the right. And this is portraying General Francis Marion and sharing sweet potatoes with the British. Another very, very important scene. That's cool. Another one of my favorite $10. This is representing, this is where I messed up. This is Ceres leaning on bales of hay with ships in the distance. And this is RMT Hunter again. This is from 1862, known as Type 46. I don't have these memorized, so I'm referring to my notes as we go. This one here, folks, is Type 52 from 1863. And this is the proposed state capital in South Carolina. What they wanted, proposed, had an idea for, recommended, what have you. Again, RMT Hunter. He was Confederate cabinet member. The same gentleman again here. But on this one, this is representing a field artillery. This is a very popular, easily obtainable note. And this note right here was the last $10 Confederate issued by the Confederacy. No more after that. This one here is just very simple. Nothing really here. Representing a sailor and a sailing ship. This is 1861. This is type 18 from the 20s, from the $20 notes. Oh, man. Okay, another sweet note. This is Alexander H. Stevens. He was Confederate Vice President. And all this goodness right here is industry between commerce and a beehive. Allegorical representation of those figures. Type 20 from 1861. This is the Tennessee State Capitol. Alexander H. Stevens again, Confederate Vice President. Type 67 from 1864. Here's a 50. I like the green. That's beautiful. That's really cool, man. And this is President Jefferson Davis, Confederate President. This is type 57 from 1862, folks. This one here is, again, Jefferson Davis, Confederate President, 1864, type 66. And what's important about this one is, by this time, in 1864, the tide of the war had begun to turn. And the North was reeling off victory after victory, and Jefferson Davis, this gentleman here, was the first and only president of the Confederate States. And he could do little at the time but hope that General Robert E. Lee and the boys of the Confederacy would regain control, but they never did. Most of these were destroyed by the Southern defeat in the Civil War because they were deemed worthless. And this note represented a lot of money back then in 1864, but the fortunes of the war continued to turn against the Confederacy. Southern currency underwent the depreciation and soaring prices characteristic of inflation. So that's pretty cool about that one. This sweet lady here, this $100, is representing a train with diffused steam and the slaves working. And this is representing a milkmaid. This is type 40, 1862, $100. This one of my favorite $100, is 3 plantation-era slaves hoeing and picking cotton. I love that. Again, that's really tight. And this is John C. Calhoun. He's South Carolina senator and secession advocate. And this is an allegorical figure representing Columbia. This note here is nicknamed the Cotton Picker. So when you hear been nicknamed the Cotton Picker. You know, it's the $100 Type 41 from 1862. Another sweet note. And here we go. Another one of my favorites. I got this not too long ago at a show, I think. This is Lucy Pickens again. This sweet lady here. She was wife of South Carolina governor. This is from 1864, type 65. And these are figures here representing army and artillery branches of the military. This gentleman here is George Wythe Randolph, Secretary of War. This is the highest denomination that I have that is real. All of these notes in this album are real. None of them are reproductions or copies or lithographs or what have you, except for, and these are technically part of my collection and in my database. These, my Confederate notes here. This one is not in my collection as per se, like I own a 500. This is a copy of a 500. And these are expensive. These are very, very expensive, and I don't even have the type number or year, description, nothing, because like I said, I just put this in here for giggles and laughs, if you will, because like I said, I mean, I could care less what happens to this note because it's not real. So these are all Confederate. And then there were ones that were issued by the individual states, and unfortunately I have only 2 of those. The first one is from the state of Georgia, issued by the southern states in 1864. And this is representing Marita, Roman goddess of memory memory with the treasure and state arms. That's cool. Look at all that detailed writing. That's tight. And this is the $50 from Georgia. This is also Georgia. This is the $50 from Georgia. From 1863. So this is 1864. This is 1863. And this is just the Georgia coat of arms with cotton above and wheat below. So that's what I got there for you folks. Wanted to bring something cool because, you know, I love my currency. I did a video on my small size notes, Federal Reserve notes, United States notes, what have you. Red seal, silver certs, gold certificates, what have you. But these are my Confederate notes. I also want to quickly discuss with you folks really good book that I recommend to all of you. You want to capture this. I bought this on the secondary market at a coin shop. This is really, really cool. A really good reference book that describes these beautiful notes and the history behind them. See, many of them I portrayed in my video. So you can read about them. I don't know how accurate, I mean, I paid a little bit more than what these are. And then, see, very similar notes that I have shown you in this video. And then there's hundreds more that are not part of my physical collection in this album, unfortunately. But as time goes on, hopefully I'll get the others and add to it. So, anyway, that's all I have for you fine, wonderful numismatic brothers and sisters out there on YouTube. I hope you enjoy this video. As I said, something different, more paper money. I want to do other videos on my Federal Reserve notes, the horse blankets that I have, and I have another album very similar to this for my Federal Reserves and gold certs that are horse blankets. And then I have another BCW that holds my broken banks, obsolete banknotes, what have you. So maybe I'll do videos on those. And if there's anything else that you folks are wanting to see or I talk about or discuss with you, give me some ideas below in the comments section. I love reading all of your comments, interacting with you as always. So I hope all of you enjoyed this video. You all be kind to each other, take care of each other, and may God bless you all.